pupils as well as the teachers. You are most welcome. To our county assembly. This is the county assembly of Kericho. And before you, of course, are the honorable members of this county assembly, where we have 47 members of the county assembly, and myself as a speaker of this county assembly. For the visiting students and teachers, my name is Dr. Patrick Mutai, the county assembly speaker of Kericho. I know you know your area honorable MCA, whom I want to believe he must be here or is on his way coming. That is the Honorable Paul Agbiagon Chirchir, the MCA for Kapsuit. Nevertheless, we have other leaders here, and we welcome you to join us. This is a replica of National Parliament, where matters touching on our county, more so of oversight, representation, as well as legislation are being handled here. And therefore, you are welcome to follow the proceedings live. We are also live on our Facebook page, and therefore, this is an experience that I believe will go a long way in building your future careers. So feel free, you are welcome. After this session, the chairman, education committee, as well as the, because I've seen the deputy speaker is here, the Honorable Eric Bates, and any other honorable member request that you interact with our visitors from Kennewood Girls Secondary School. Thank you so much, and you feel most welcome. Clerk, next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next.
Order number 4, petition.
Next.
Order number 5, papers.
Next.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Honorable members, we have one notice of motion. That is motion by the chairman of Education and Child Welfare Committee. The Honorable Philip Mutai. Give notice of your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for this opportunity. I want to take a report on Kericho County Vocational Training Centers Grants Guidelines.
All right, thank you for the notice of motion. Clerk, next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Yes, Honorable. Okay. All right. So I've been advised that the statement has been deferred, the one that we had. But clerk, next order.
Order number 8, motion by the chairman, Education and Child Welfare Committee.
The Honorable Philip Mutai, now you can move your motion and table it before the House.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for this opportunity to table a report on Kericho County Vocational Training Centers Grants Guidelines. Before I table the report, Mr. Speaker, sir, I just want to take this opportunity to welcome teachers and pupils from Kennewood Secondary School. I just want to tell them most welcome, feel free, and learn what will be before you. And when you will go back to school, just go and work hard. I know some of you, if you take seriously your studies at school, may end up coming to this honorable house. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to start it will help the county to conclusively address youth employment. Budgeting, transfer, spending, report, monitoring of the vocational training grants in the county, known as cavitation, Payata Educational by the county government of Kericho and the Kenya Commercial Bank Fund, and has greatly enhanced enrollment of all the VTCs. The program has made it easier for youth to enroll in county VTCs. The enrollment at present stands at 4,262 trainees, up from 1,709 in the last financial year. Mandate of the committee, that is 1.1. The Committee on Education and Child Welfare is established pursuant to Kericho County Assembly Standing Order number 194, which highlights the subject area to be all matters to primary education, village polytechnics, home craft centers, and child welfares, including child care facilities. Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me to read the membership of the committee, because I was surprised today that most of the honorable members don't know their colleagues in Education Committee. The Committee of Education and Child Welfare was constituted in January 2023, and the membership of the committee is as follows. Honorable Cheriot Pate, who happens to be the chairman, Honorable Matthew Korir, who happens to be vice chair, Honorable Dr. Norman Rob, who is member, Irene Langat, member, Honorable Philip Mutai, myself, being member, Honorable Evelyn Jebwagen, member, Honorable Kibet Paspain, member, Honorable Tora Keino, member, Honorable Gladys Pate, member. Policy statement, that is 2.0. Kericho Vocational Training Grants Policy will provide framework for the implementation of the VCT programs in order to facilitate smooth and proper utilization of grants by the county government of Kericho. The policy will address budgeting, transfer, utilization, reporting as per IPSA, monitoring, evaluation of VTCs, grants by the county treasury in county VCTs within the county. 2.1, that is the objectives of the grant. The primary objective of the vocational training centers grant is to provide an incentive towards improvement of vocational education and training in the county. The incentives will enhance the enrollment and retention of trainees in vocational training centers by providing a capitation of reasonable amount per trainee per year. This will ensure that the youths and other disadvantaged groups have access to quality and relevant education and skills as trained as envisioned in the Constitution of Kenya 2010. Sensational paper number 1 of 2019 on reforming education and training for sustainable development in Kenya, Vision 2030, and sustainable development goals. The trainees will equip with competitive and employable technical and vocational skills to make them self-reliant and relevant to the job market. 3.0, that is the observation. The county VTCs in the county VTCs in the county has total enrollment of 4,262 trainees spread across the 13 VTCs in the county. Number 2, the county VTCs offers the following courses: electrical installation, motor vehicle mechanics, hospitality and food technology, air tracing and beauty therapy, carpentry and joinery, plumbing technology, tailoring, garment design, masonry, welding and fabrication, ICT. Number 3, the objective of the Kericho vocational training grants policy is to provide an incentive towards improvement of vocational education and training in the county. This will ensure that the youths and other disadvantaged groups have access to quality and relevant education and skills training as envisioned in the Constitution of 2010. Sensational paper number 1 of 2019 on reforming education, training for sustainable development in Kenya, Vision 2030, and sustainable development goals. The trainees will be equipped with competitive, enjoyable technical and vocational skills to make them self-reliant and relevant to the job market. Number 4, upon completion of our program, the trainees awarded a qualification recognized by the Kenya National Qualification Authority and may include, but not limited to, number 1, government trade test 3, 2, or 1, offered by National Industrial Training Authority, that is NITA. Number 2, competent-based education and training programs by TVETs, Curriculum Development Accredited and Certification Council. Number 3, National Vocational Certificate in Education and Training Program offered by Kenya National Examination Council. 4, City and Skills Program. A, the capitation per student shall be paid once in a calendar year for programs that take more than 1 year. Number 5, the grant will only utilize against the 48s listed below. The provisions in the following legal documents shall be complied with in the manner prescribed therein when incurred expenditure on the items listed. The Public Finance Management Act 2012 and its attendant regulations, the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act of 2015, and its attendant regulation, Article 227 of Kenya Constitution 2010. 1, repairs, maintenance and improvement of infrastructure tools and equipment. This item is for repair, maintenance, refurbishment of buildings and replacement of tools and equipment. 2, training tools and equipment. This shall include, among other purchases, of training and equipment. Number 3, textbooks and instructional examination materials. This shall include, among other purchases of textbooks, training and instructions and examination materials. Below is a summary of 4.8. I think then we go to recommendation. That is the 4.0. This committee recommends that the Kericho County Vocational Training Center's grants guidelines to be approved by this honorable house. P, the vocational grants must be reflected in the county government of Kericho budget estimates for the relevant fiscal year. C, the VCT's grants must be transferred to a special purpose account operated exclusively for management of the grants immediately, but not later than 15 working days after receipt of the funds at the county revenue fund account. D, each VCT must submit quarterly financial reports in the agreed format to the county treasury with a copy to the county department concerned with vocational education and training within 15 days after the expiry of each quarter. E, each VCT must submit annual financial reports in the agreed format to the county treasury with a copy to the county department concerned with vocational education and training within 30 days after the end of each financial year. F, each VCC shall be required to prepare annual integrated work plan for improvement of VCT that incorporates all income, including VTC grants, with clear deliverables. G, each VCT will be required to prepare and submit annual technical reports agreed format to the county executive committee member in charge of vocational education and training with a copy to the chief officer and the director of vocational education and training. The report will address the following thematics areas. H, the VCT's grant shall be dispersed to all public VCTs that meet the following conditions, VTCs. A, be registered as a public VTC by relevant government agency. B, built on public land with evidence of a title deed or letter of allotment, offering at least 2 trades courses which are recognized by the Kenya National Qualification Agency and certified by an accredited examining body. D, having at least 2 qualified and accredited trainers. E, must have a functional current board of management. F, must open and operate a special purpose account for administration of grant. G, signatories to the special purpose account will be appointed in writing by the chief officer in charge of VET in consultation with CECSM in charge of VET as follows. 1, VTC manager, the chairman board of management, the chief officer in charge of VET, who shall be a mandatory signatory. 4, the account in all VTCs should at all time comply with BMF Act and its regulation. Acknowledgement. The committee wishes to thank the office of the Speaker, the clerk to the County Assembly for necessary support extended to it in execution of its mandate. Mr. Speaker, sir, it's my pleasant duty, pursuant to Standing Order number 205, to present the report on the Kericho County Vocational Training Centers grants signed by Chair, Education and Child Welfare. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Your seconder, the Honorable Philip Mutai.
Let me call Honorable Gladys Pate to second the report.
Honorable Gladys Pate. Well seconded. Thank you. Honorable members, having the Chairman of Education and Welfare moved the report, I now wish to propose the question that this House approves the report of Education and Child Welfare Committee on the Kericho County Vocational Training Centers grants guidelines. I remind us the floor is now open for contribution and debate. The Honorable Ezron Letich, and then I will give to now that the Honorable Paul Chirchir is in the House, you have visitors. I'll give you the next one.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, sir, for the opportunity you have granted me, Mr. Speaker, so that I can rise to support the motion by Chairman Education Committee in the House, Mr. Speaker, which was presented by Honorable Philip Mutai, who is a member of the committee. Before I give out my input, Mr. Speaker, or comments on this motion, Mr. Speaker, allow me to join you and the administration of the Assembly and members of the County Assembly in welcoming the students, teachers, Board of Management, and the family fraternity of Kennegut, student from Kennegut Secondary School who have come here today. Want to welcome and tell them that this is a County Assembly, a replica of the National Assembly, whereby we are doing representation, oversight, and legislation. County assemblies in Kenya are 47 county assemblies, 2 national assemblies, which is the Senate and the national assemblies. So the operation are exactly the way we operate. Otherwise, welcome and feel free to learn, and that is where you will draw your inspiration, and this is where you will learn more about the governance and leadership of our country. So, Mr. Speaker, on today's motion, Mr. Speaker, I want to echo the Committee on Education, Mr. Speaker, on this motion, on the policy statement, on the grant towards the feed disease in our county. We were discussing with one of my colleagues about the grants, and we were saying, if it is not well managed, this will be another hardware committee will be formed to investigate the usage of these grants. Because grants which has been granted to feed disease without clear guideline will not see proper prudent utilization. During Governor's Manifesto, he has an inspiration of ensuring that he imparts knowledge to all the cadres of people in the society. Those who dropped from primary school and those who didn't continue at high school. He had an intention of empowering all vocational training colleges in our county so that those who have not acquired the tertiary education can fit disease and learn on how to equip themselves on technical knowledge. Feed diseases are very important integral components in our society, Mr. Speaker, considering the direction of our country, whereby we are moving to a developing country, whereby we need more technicians to help us in running our country. Most of the industries which are coming up, most of the housing programs which the government is as highlighted as the first manifesto number 1 of Kenya Kwanza, will be the people who will ensure that this program runs are the products of VTCs. What are the VTCs training, what are the VTCs producing, Mr. Speaker? VTCs is where people are being equipped with knowledge on electrical installation, on plumbing, on masonry, on welding, Mr. Speaker. This is a Villages Polytechnics. Before it was changed, it used to be called Village Polytechnics. But now it has been changed to be vocational training centers because now there is no qualification for one to join vocational training. So long as you have a pass certificate and IB, you are qualified to join a vocational training college so that you can learn either you want to learn hairdressing, you want to learn plumbing, gave out a proposal of 41 million, Mr. Speaker, and we were to supplement the same so that we can, they were giving us a grant of 41 million, and we as a county, we were supposed to supplement the same with the same amount, Mr. Speaker. But due to maybe technical issues which they had, they managed to give us 27 million. And out of the amount and the amount which we allocated in the budget, it saw almost 4,000 students, 4,262 students across the entire 13 VTCs, Mr. Speaker. And I want to encourage and to echo the honorable members of this House, Mr. Speaker, because apart from the 13 vocational training colleges, Mr. Speaker, in the last budget, we saw a number around 3 new vocational training colleges which we allocated funds, and I think their progress are progressing well. Because we need at least in every ward to have a vocational training college, because in every constituency we have what we call technical and vocational training college. What is the difference between the technical vocational training college and the vocational training college, Mr. Speaker? The technical vocational college are the technical institution which are managed by national government. But the vocational training college are the colleges which are managed by the county government, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, another thing which I need to echo our colleagues is the allocation of money in this current financial year budget, Mr. Speaker, towards the employment and recruitment of more instructors in our VTCs. So we allocated close to 10 million so that at least we recruit more technical instructors so that it can assist us in ensuring that these students get knowledge, because there is an influx of students due to the grants. So these grants, Mr. Speaker, these grants would assist us. So apart from this policy, Mr. Speaker, I think we need to ask the Committee on Education to go and come up with a bill towards this vocational training college, Mr. Speaker, because it's not really watertight. It is just showing us on how they are intending to spend on on the grants, Mr. Speaker. But you know, when you know our country and our county, Mr. Speaker, when we leave everything just like that, it can get the money can get misused. So we need a bill or a law which will guide on the proper, prudent utilization of this fund, so that at least the funds which our donors are giving us, we get value for money for it. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, I support the report by the committee and ensure that and ask the relevant departmental committee to do critical oversight over these funds. What is so important as I end is the recommendation by this committee that at every within the 15 days of every elapse of a every quarter, Mr. Speaker, they should furnish us with quarterly reports. This is a song which has been singing, Mr. Speaker, and I want to shame the Committee on Finance, because since we have come here, Mr. Speaker, we have never seen any quarterly reports being tabled in this house. That is why, Mr. Speaker, we are budgeting things. We are doing a budget which is not accurate, Mr. Speaker. So if you are a member of a finance committee, you should be ashamed of yourself because you have slept on your job, Mr. Speaker. And that is how we should ashame people, Mr. Speaker. Because since where have we ever tabled a quarterly report, Mr. Speaker, of any? Whether it is a quarterly report or a annual report on financial status. So, Mr. Speaker, I think going forward, Mr. Speaker, we should ensure that, Mr. Speaker, every committee should take their work seriously and give us quarterly reports of every department. Or if that is not enough, if they have been defeated, let every departmental committee ask the relevant department to furnish each committee so that each committee can table their quarterly report in this house, Mr. Speaker. But this thing of waiting an umbrella thing to provide, Mr. Speaker, it has failed us. Otherwise, I support this motion by Chairman Education. Thank you.
Thank you, the Honorable Lezeron Ngatich, the leader of Majority Emeritus. Of course, you have mentioned the Committee on Finance. And the chair is not here. But remember the responsibility for statement of facts. And I want to assume, since the members of the committee are here and they have even cheered when they have been told that you are ashaming the House, I want to believe it is a true position that indeed that committee is wanting and has failed to carry their responsibilities as per the standing orders. And therefore, the leader of majority should take note on that issue that have been raised and needs to be addressed so that this county assembly, as they carry out their mandates, in a manner that, of course, will benefit the people of this county. The Honorable Paul Chirchir, and those are your visitors from Kennewood Secondary School. I think you must have left early home, then they followed you.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Speaker, County Assembly of Kericho, for giving me an opportunity to give my input on today's report by the Education and Child Welfare Committee. But before I do that, Mr. Speaker, allow me to join you, the leadership of the County Assembly of Kericho, led by the Speaker, yourself, and the leadership and colleague MCAs in welcoming students from Kennewood Girls. Feel welcome. This assembly is a replica of the National Assembly and the Senate. Our core functions are legislation, oversight, and representation. Those are the functions that this assembly does. And at the national level, the Senate and the National Assembly does the same. But at the county level, we pass laws that do not contravene the national laws. That is where our point of departure is, but you're most welcome. Please note that lunch is on me today, so after this meeting, you will eat where you want in this county. Now, Mr. Speaker, sir, back to today's report on Kericho County Vocational Training Center's grants guidelines, Mr. Speaker, sir. I have gone through the report, and indeed, I am impressed. There has been gaps and gray areas when it comes to grants from donors, especially on vocational training. But with the approval of this report, Mr. Speaker, sir, all that will be addressed. Let me go back to our manifesto as Kenya Kwanza, Mr. Speaker, sir, our manifesto is very, very clear. And at the county level, we are supposed to pass laws and policies that align the county's programs with our Kenya Kwanza manifesto. Mr. Speaker, sir, our manifesto is on housing. Housing tops our agenda, Mr. Speaker. And for housing to be complete, we need plumbers, we need electricians, we need masons, we need carpenters, we need painters, we need landscapers, and many more, Mr. Speaker. Where do we get this skilled labor? This skilled labor, we get them from our polytechnics, from our vocational training centers. So with the approval of this report, Mr. Speaker, I will be able to realize our Kenya Kwanza manifesto. Mr. Speaker, sir, we also promised the people who elected us that we will create employment. Employment does not mean you only need to be salaried. No. With your skills, when you equipped with your skills, Mr. Speaker, sir, you're able to earn a living. So when we approve this report, Mr. Speaker, sir, that means we will be able to create employment through skills. We have a deficit of about 250,000 houses in this country. So once we channel this group, Mr. Speaker, sir, we will be able to fill that gap. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, our polytechnics, some of our polytechnics do not even have title deeds, Mr. Speaker, sir. And we know our Kenyan laws. Our laws are very, very clear. When it comes to building in any infrastructure, we need to build infrastructure on land that belongs to the public. So we know donors are very strict. So this report, Mr. Speaker, sir, says very well that before a structure or donor funds are invested anywhere, Mr. Speaker, sir, the land must have a title deed, which has been a challenge. We have seen areas or instances where the county has lost money, where public funds are utilized, a structure is built, but it is built on private land. And the law is very clear. If you build anything on a title deed that does not belong to you, it does not belong to you, it belongs to the owner of the title deed. So we do not want such cases to arise when we have these donor funds, Mr. Speaker, sir. We have all seen the formation. Who is supposed to be a signatory? The chief officer appoints signatories to this account, and we have the VTC manager, the chairman of the board, the chief officer in charge of VET. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, this is a well-researched report. It has addressed all those areas that I have talked about. The VTC must be registered. We have seen areas where VTCs are not registered, but they operate. So when students clear, they are unable to get licenses because they went to acquire skills in colleges that are not registered. So this one must be registered, Mr. Speaker, sir, and also quality. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, I support this report, and especially also where, for accountability purposes, they've got to be reports after every financial year where the department makes reports after the period that is specified in this report. So for accountability, this is prudent and this is very good. So I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me an opportunity, and I fully support the report. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Honorable Paul Chirchir. I saw the hand of the Honorable Anthony Ruta.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, sir, for according me this opportunity so that I may also contribute to this very important report. First, let me join my colleagues who have just spoken to welcome the students and teachers of Kennewood Secondary School to this honorable house. Feel welcomed. As you have been told, this is a replica of the National Assembly. On the same note, I want to challenge you. I know for you to be in school, your parents make a lot of sacrifices. And I wish you should also reciprocate the same by working hard, by also being self-disciplined. If you can be able to do that, definitely you will be able to perform well in your exams. Honorable Speaker, sir, on this report, let me take also this opportunity to thank Committee on Education for coming up with these policy guidelines. As you are aware, Honorable Speaker, sir, without a policy guidelines like this, money or funds that are meant for improvement of infrastructure and other things in our vocational centers, vocational training centers, can end up being misused. Passing of these policy guidelines will lead to a prudent usage of funds that are meant for our vocational training centers. And when this money is used well, we will be able to have value for money. So I also support this particular report. As you are aware, Honorable Speaker, sir, the problem of unemployment in our country and also our county is wanting. It is a time bomb. And if it is not addressed, it will be a problem in future. Putting up of vocational training centers will be one way of addressing the problem of unemployment among our youths. As we are all aware, long time ago, we used to take our children to school in the name of getting collar jobs. But it is not the case now. 80% of our youth will end up in training, in vocational training centers. And if this big population will end up in vocational training centers, meaning that we have to make sure that all the necessary things that are required in vocational training centers must be put in place. Among them, infrastructure. When we have adequate and relevant infrastructure, then we will be able to have quality education and training among our youths that will go to vocational training centers. Another thing that is wanting, that we are supposed to put in place as county government of Kericho, is employment of qualified and adequate training instructors. It is unfortunate, as we are speaking now, most of our VTCs are doing without instructors. And if we cannot be able to have instructors in our vocational training centers, that means we will not be able to have quality training among our youths. So that one also Honorable Speaker, sir, should be taken care of. Honorable Speaker, sir, I want to concur with Honorable Member from Kapsoit. I have looked at all these requirements that have been put forward. If we will not be careful, we will hang ourselves. Most of our VTCs do not have title deeds, meaning that they will not qualify. They will not qualify for these grants. Another thing, it is written here that they should a VTC to be registered should also have at least 2 qualified and accredited trainers, which is also a problem. So these things are good, all these requirements are good, but the problem is this: our VTCs meeting these requirements. So what do I want to say? Committee on Education and the Department of Education should have done first feasibility study to make sure that all our VTCs are meeting these requirements. But in any case, they are good requirements. But the problem is this: do our VTCs have these requirements? However, Honorable Speaker, sir, I support the report. Thank you.
Thank you, the Honorable Anthony Ruto. I saw the hand of the Honorable Gilbert Ngetich, and then I'll go to Honorable Rogon, and then Dr. Moses Rutich, and then Fancy, the Honorable Fancy, queried in that order. Honorable Gilbert Ngetich, the member of County Assembly for Kisiara Ward from Bureti.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity also to represent those good people from Kisiara Ward and mainly to support this particular report from the Committee on Education. But before this, Mr. Speaker, allow me to welcome the visitors who are at the gallery. That is the team from Kennewood Secondary School, from Kapsoit Ward, where Honorable Paul Chirchir, man, I was thinking could be Honorable Paul Chirchir also read and quote the English from that particular school, but he didn't confirm. But all the same, all schools are the same, but the school is very good. We really welcome you to this assembly, and definitely you've really gotten a lunch from the honorable member from your ward. Definitely your prayers will be for him, morning, afternoon, and evening. Mr. Speaker, I support this particular report, and the sentiments made by Honorable from Kipkelian Ward were really very valid, that a committee could have actually identified those VTCs which are really not having the title deeds and could be lacking what is actually enlisted here, and should have also identified that there will be some mechanism which will be taken in place for us to have those VCTs up to date, because we cannot be actually owning VTCs which are really not actually accredited to be existing in this particular country of ours. Mr. Speaker, I really think of when I saw the objectives of the grant, I saw something that this is to ensure that the youth and other disadvantaged groups have an access to quality and relevant education. Mr. Speaker, when this sentence or paragraph mentioned disadvantaged group, I learned of people who really didn't manage. They really went to school through challenges and eventually could be did KCPE or KCSE certificates through struggles and could be obtained a grade which is not actually enough for them to fit in these regular universities. These people might have gone through challenges of money. Mr. Speaker, we had a grant in which we really had about 100 Bawad students who really went to these VCTs, Mr. Speaker. But because of their disadvantages, the background in which they are really coming from, Mr. Speaker, some were ending up paying, Mr. Speaker, paying some money again on top of the 5,000. As the committee goes back to really sit on appropriating funds to include the grants, Mr. Speaker, I beseech that let us also include the payment they are doing, because I'm told that they are paying 2,000 for lunch, Mr. Speaker, and the disadvantaged team will not even manage to raise the 2,000, Mr. Speaker. So they ended up not even going to that school again because of failure to pay the 1,000. Since this thing is meant for the disadvantaged team of the society, let us ensure that they have the payment in full if we are to make a guiding policy, Mr. Speaker. Chairman, Education and the members, I beseech you, as you go and sit and really prepare for the future donations we do make through grants, let us really make it fully for us not to have some students hanging because of missing to pay the lunch fee, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, remember the managers still, again, are not even humane. You can find a student in these VTCs, Mr. Speaker, who really goes to school, could be without even a shoe. They wear this stone shoe to illustrate the poverty existing in the background of their home. But they really want to have to make the both ends meet in that family, Mr. Speaker. Just because of lunch, the managers also can decide to chase them away. They will never go to a class because of that lunch, which of course, definitely they can even sacrifice not to have lunch and have the academics from a class, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, as we really plan to assist the disadvantaged team, let us really make a plan of adding up money to really include, up to including the lunch payments, because there are some families which cannot even manage to pay the 1,000 for lunch. So, Mr. Speaker, as I really finish, I saw again another recommendation made here as a recommendation, yes. Each VTC must submit quarterly financial reports in the agreed format to the county treasury with a copy to the county department concerned with the vocational educational training within 15 days after the expiry of each quarter. Now, the committee, again, I'm inquiring, where are we here getting the reports? We are supposed to be given a copy as an assembly, as an oversight team, because if they really make copies within the department, definitely our oversight will lack. So I could actually think of the D to include the same copy being made to the assembly for proper oversight on the quarterly report presentation. As we really now talk on Committee on Finance, that they are really missing their job. The recommendation D does not allow us to do proper oversight. So, Mr. Speaker, you will see that these reports and the quarterly report should be made to the Assembly as a copy for us to check on the progress on these VCTs. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
All right, thank you, the Honorable Gilbert Ngati. The Honorable Kiprotich Ragon, the member of the County Assembly from Sigawit.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also rise to support the report that has been presented by the Committee on Education. That is the report on education, child welfare, on the Kericho County Vocational Training Center. Mr. Speaker, even before I contribute, I also take this opportunity to welcome the students and the teachers from Kennewood Secondary School. That is in Kapsoit Ward. Welcome to the Assembly. This is a house of rules. This is a house where so many things are done with regards to the county government of Kericho. Mr. Speaker, I support this report because it comes at a time when the county government of Kericho recently sent students to various VTCs. The governor talked about a scholarship program. But unfortunately, I want to challenge the Committee on Education to even inquire further, because you know when the governor tours the various wards and he tells the public that the opportunities in those VTCs are free for the 100. I can tell you for a fact, a VTC like Chebirilbe, which is closer to my ward, that is in Kabianga ward, the students from my ward who were sent there, some of them dropped out because the management of the VTC requested them to pay lunch allowance going up to 7,000 shillings. But then the governor did not tell those students that you are supposed to pay for lunch. So the Committee on Education, one of the members once said here, that can be a scam in waiting, and which will invite another ad hoc committee to look into the management of those VTCs. But the committee's recommendation to have these VTCs supported by giving them the capitation program is something that we welcome. Mr. Speaker, I support this because one, if you look at the current economic transformation in this country, the bottom-up economic model that is fronted by the Kenya Kwanza government, it envisages a scenario where we need more plumbers, we need more electricians. Mr. Speaker, the member should be consulting in law terms. So the Kenya Kwanza government is pushing for more plumbers, more hairdressers. I mean, Mr. Speaker, the president is trying to empower our youth with skills that will enable them to be able to get their livelihoods. So, Mr. Speaker, I support this report. In fact, one of the recommendations which I like from the committee is even the requirement for a VTC to get this fund. First of all, it should be a registered VTC. The land in which the VTC is built should have a title or even an allotment letter. And then number two, Mr. And he should be able to quote the standing order in which he's raising the point of order.
Order. Yes, the Honorable Paul Chichiri, your hand is up on point of order.
Mr. Speaker, sir, you know, we are House of Rules and Procedures. And he who alleges, Mr. Speaker, sir, must prove. The Honorable Member for Sigawet has cast aspersions of doubt on a process that is very dear and close to our hearts, Mr. Speaker, sir, on the 100 students per ward who were sent to various polytechnics and vocational training colleges, Mr. Speaker, sir. If indeed it's true that the students from Sigawet ward, the 100, their slot for Sigawet ward, were sent to various polytechnics under the scholarship and did not get the same skills, Mr. Speaker, sir, the Honorable Member should prove this house, and we will take action against whoever has done that, because Sigawet, like Absolute, like the other wards, must get their rightful share, Mr. Speaker, sir. So the Honorable Member should prove beyond any reasonable doubt that the slot for Sigawet, the 100 slots for Sigawet, did not get to Sigawet, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you, the Honorable Paul Chichiri. Before you take your mic, the Honorable Ogoin, I know that is standing order number 101, which is a responsibility for statement of facts. And it says, a member shall be responsible for the accuracy of any facts which the member alleges to be true and may be required to substantiate any such facts instantly. The Chair now directs the Honorable Kiprotich Ogoin to immediately substantiate the facts, and if Order, I'm still on the mic. And if you have any sufficient reason to convince the chair, or if you are unable to substantiate the allegations instantly, and then you may have to withdraw. But however, you are a member of the County Assembly of Sigawit, and whatever you are going to confirm shall only be confined to Sigawit ward. Or maybe if you have any information from the Department of Education, then you can also substantiate. So the Honorable Kibut Chairman, as you summarizes on your contribution, you substantiate the facts instantly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order number 101, I want to stand with my statement. I can even point out a number of students who went to Kiptere Polytechnic from my ward, and they were requested to pay for lunch. And the point I'm making here is perhaps the governor is misinforming the public, because one, the governor goes there and say the scholarship program is free for the 100. But then the managers in those two institutions are sending those kids home for lunch fee. The committee should have told this house that they are expected to pay for the lunch. So, Mr. Speaker, I stand with that, and I challenge any member from the Committee on Education to bring the report before this house. At that point in time, if I lied before this house, then I should be able to come and apologize. But as it is, a number of my students from my ward dropped out, and the governor has gone around telling the public that it is free. In fact, I was with a member here in my ward, and people were worried, why is it that the governor is saying it is free, yet it is not free? Mr. Speaker, as I wind, I was saying the funding model for this is something that I support because of the requirement. And I want to let this house know, in the county government of Bomet, just neighboring here, we have the Director of Public Works who went through Kiptere Polytechnic. This is an individual who never went to high school. He came to Kiptere Polytechnic, acquired a certificate, proceeded to Moi University, formerly University of Eldoret. That was part of the Moi University. He is now the Director of Public Works, a senior officer without Form 4 certificate. These VTCs are very helpful. These VTCs, if we manage as a county, it will transform the youth in this county. And we want to challenge the executive that we still need to support them. As I went, Mr. Speaker, remember the TVETs are now very popular because of the capitation program. The 30,000 shillings that the national government gives to every student in that institution is where people are now going. If we support these VTCs, Mr. Speaker, I tell you, in the next 5 years, we will have a number of youth who will even be doing a number of renovations in even this house. And they are just but our youth from around this county. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support the report.
Thank you, the Honorable Kibut Chairman. Of course, you have substantiated your facts, which I will give further directives after we come conclusion to this debate. The Honorable Moses the Honorable Dr. Moses Rotich, yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to speak to this matter that is before us today. Before then, Mr. Speaker, allow me to join hands with you, Mr. Speaker, and the honorable members in this assembly to welcome students, teachers from Cap Tebeswet Secondary School, Mr. Speaker.
Kennegut.
Oh, Kennegut. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for the correction. Kennegut Secondary School, Mr. Speaker. As I proceed to welcome them, Mr. Speaker, to the students of Kennegut, feel sufficiently and abundantly welcome to this county assembly. As honorable members who have spoken before me, Mr. Speaker,
has put it right that we do representation, we do legislation, Mr. Speaker, we do oversight, and also budgetary by this symbol of authority. Honorable Gilbert Ngatich had put it earlier that Honorable Paul Chirchir must have schooled in the said Kaptebeswet Kenegut, secondary school. Mr. Speaker, there is various forms of learning, Mr. Speaker. Forms of learning, one is learning through association, learning through observation, Mr. Speaker, and also learning through osmosis. So maybe, and diffusion. So maybe the Honorable Paul Chirchir must have used the said three methods, Mr. Speaker, to learn good English that is presenting to this House. Mr. Speaker, allow me also to support the report that is before us, Mr. Speaker, on the policy guidelines to the grant to vocational training centers, Mr. Speaker. Per definition, Mr. Speaker, grant may be from government, Mr. Speaker. It may be from a non-governmental organization, Mr. Speaker. It may be as well from the well-wishers, Mr. Speaker, as an award to narrow down and also establish a pathway for learning, Mr. Speaker. If there is something that the government of Kenya and the Kericho County government is getting it right, Mr. Speaker, is the establishment and the support towards vocational training center, Mr. Speaker. I am the latest beneficiary of this program, Mr. Speaker, of the establishment of Benditai Vocational Training Center, Mr. Speaker, that will speak to the needs of Tendeno Soget Ward, Mr. Speaker, in providing the skills that will turn around, Mr. Speaker, the youths into the potentiality of self-reliance, Mr. Speaker, and also the job creation, Mr. Speaker. This report, Mr. Speaker, is coming at a time that we, as a county government, as national government, Mr. Speaker, wants to capitalize and drive the economy of this country through technical skills, Mr. Speaker, that are acquired in these vocational training centers, Mr. Speaker. The requirements, Mr. Speaker, for utilization or for the appropriation of the grant, Mr. Speaker, I agree to some extent, Mr. Speaker, and also to some extent, Mr. Speaker, we may call in for further expansion, further research, Mr. Speaker, on these policy guidelines, Mr. Speaker, so that every other institution within this county that falls under vocational training center, Mr. Speaker, is captured in this program. Mr. Speaker, the issue of the votables, Mr. Speaker, that is the infrastructure and the civil works. This policy is giving a 30%, Mr. Speaker. The purchase of educational aids and related equipments, Mr. Speaker, they are giving 50%. Maintenance of plant machinery and equipments, Mr. Speaker, they are giving 15%. And also the administrative cost, Mr. Speaker. Maybe, if need be, Mr. Speaker, we may have the fourth, Mr. Speaker, on operationalization, Mr. Speaker, of newly established centers, so that they effectively be captured into this program of VTCs, Mr. Speaker. As I want, Mr. Speaker, there is the issue of the examining bodies, Mr. Speaker. That is the issue of examining bodies that are training and awarding certificates to our youths. Mr. Speaker, the NITA, the CDAC, Mr. Speaker,
the National Vocational Certificate in Education that is administered by the NEC, Mr. Speaker, and City and Guilds, Mr. Speaker. This is now the way to go, because as we progress, the President of the Republic, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, Mr. Speaker, has talked with a lot of emphasis on the export of labor to Asia, Europe, and other overseas countries, Mr. Speaker, so that at the end of the day, when these youths graduate, Mr. Speaker, they are enrolled into a program for export labor, Mr. Speaker. So with those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, on my own behalf, and on behalf of the people of Tondama who give me an opportunity to be here, Mr. Speaker, I say thank you.
All right, thank you. Honorable members, I have seen the hands of so many honorable members. But you know, the visitors in our gallery are girls. I know they are Gen Zs of our time. And we have women in the house. I've saw the hand of Honorable Fancy, the Honorable Dora Kino. I've also seen the hand of the Honorable Dominic. But I'll give first opportunity to the honorable members of who were before. There are also Gen Zs there, and the students from Kennewood are girls. So I'll start with our honorable members of the County Assembly who are women. And I start with Honorable Fancy, and then I'll go to Honorable Dora Kino in that order. And then I'll come to the Honorable Vincent Korir. I have seen the hand of Honorable Dominic in that order. So Honorable Fancy, and then Honorable Dora. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this chance. And before I continue, let me welcome Kennewood girls to this honorable house. This is a house of rules and procedures, and it is a replica of the National Assembly. And as we have been told by our honorable members, that this is the mess, and you dare touch the mess, you touch the power, and it's something which we are not supposed to play with. And this one goes to our Gen Zs, that this is a house of rules and procedure, and we do not play inside here. We make rules. So, and I also encourage the Chair for Youths and Sports, Honorable Anthony Ruta from Kipkelion Ward, that let's encourage our youths who are here today. They were to visit the governor, and before they go there, maybe we encourage them to go to these vocational trainings, colleges, so that they get these skills. And I stand here because I want to tell them that these skills really gives them job opportunities. Like I've worked in the multinational companies, and most of the managers are products from vocational trainings. These are, they've done the electricals, the masonry and welding. So let us encourage our youths to go for these trainings so that they may not idle around. And again, I support the honorable member from Chilchila said that all these vocational training colleges should give a quarterly report to the educational committee so that they'll give us a report on the same. I support this because any abuse or any mismanagement of the amount given to these colleges amounts to abuse of office. And nowadays we don't joke with the people who does the abuse of any office, be it down here or any other place, will face the full force of, yes. Okay, thank you so much. And lastly, I think we should have a policy on the same so that it will card all these, the funding which goes to this vocational training, so that in every quarterly report or every report which we are supposed to receive, maybe from the education committee, should have a financial report, and which gives us a true picture on all this, and it will address all these issues which have been said by honorable members. Otherwise, thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this chance. I support the report. Thank you.
All right, thank you, the Honorable Alfonso Correa, nominated MCA from Chaikwat. The Honorable Dora Keino.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I'm not a Gen Z, but I'm a champion of accountability. So I'm somehow a Gen Z. Welcome so much to this gallery, the students from Kennegut Girls Secondary School. I was also a girl in some girls' school maybe 10 years ago, so in the near future you might be here just like me. Keep up and run with time like the Gen Zs of Nairobi. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support this report and also appreciate the guidelines on these grants. But Mr. Speaker, however, there is some misleading information by the implementers of these grants that this one is a grant and it is free for all. But Mr. Speaker, I also have a case or some cases from different students where they were students in some training colleges, but now they are at home because of lack of funds. And also, Mr. Speaker, as a member of this education committee, I'll urge the Committee on Education to look at this and maybe make it a bill and more guidelines so that it can really help us to implement this a very good program by the executive, and also it will help us not to we can have an impending scam or a scandal with this, Mr. Speaker, if we don't get to make it a bill and make it more focus on the students than the schools. Mr. Speaker, I also feel like this vocational program is not equitable shared. The resources were not equitable shared because there are some wards, it was 100 per ward, and there are some wards they don't have even a student, like the Kedawa Kimugul ward. So I think we should look at that, and because this county, we have to share our resources equitably. So, Mr. Speaker, we have to note that as the Committee on Education, so that we check on that. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. I support the guidelines. Thank you.
Thank you so much, the Honorable Dora Keino, nominated member of the County Assembly from Chepsei Ward. Honorable Vincent Korir, the member of the County Assembly for Londiani Ward. We are almost winding up, honorable members.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity to comment on the guidelines and policies on VTCs. Before I go on, I would like to welcome the students from Kennegut Secondary School from Kapsoit, and maybe I'll have to give them a word of encouragement that you are the leaders of today and tomorrow. We used to be told a long time ago that we are leaders of tomorrow only. But now, I can tell you that you have the potential to develop your leadership even now as students. And your future is bright only if you work hard, because the same teachers who are teaching you are teaching those schools that you know that they always say they are better. Mr. Speaker, sir, VTCs are very important, and recently as Londiani Ward, we are also lucky to have benefited from one, and currently it's under construction. The committee did a very good job by actually coming up with a policy, and this policy will help us to strengthen the VTCs, and also the grants that might come from different sources. We might receive grants from donors, we might receive grants from the government, and any other place that maybe they think they have goodwill to support the VTCs. VTCs, Mr. Speaker, sir, is very important because I once went outside the country and I realized that people who have technical skills are rare. And that's why the country now is trying to export labor. And if we want to have our youth get jobs and also get self-employment, and also to achieve the Vision 2030 of industrialization, and also being able to do manufacturing within our places, then VTCs is the way to go. Actually, white-collar jobs are no longer lucrative. In foreign countries, they pay VTC technical people better than white-collar jobs. And I would like to encourage the students here that don't despise any training that will give you technical skills that will last lifetime. When you become a plumber, you become a plumber forever. You will not change. And I want to say, Mr. Speaker, sir, I once met with a staff who was working for a company as a policy maker, but she went to a technical school to learn on how to install tiles, which is a very expensive affair in other countries. And even within ourselves, in our villages, it's very rare to even get someone to come and install tiles for you in your house. And this is an opportunity to train our youths in that direction. To support this policy, I have some suggestions. The way our Honorable for Kipkelion had suggested that maybe the title deed is a barrier. And maybe we'll request that if the department can still fund construction of VTCs, it should be a mandatory that before a construction is started, there should be a title deed, because it's a challenge. And this is something that should be met before even saying funding from the county government. And this issue of title deeds, sometimes transfer from the public to VTC might be a challenge, but there shall be maybe a way. Maybe the education committee should develop a way of identifying the assets that belong to VTCs, not only the title deeds, but even the assets that we have as VTCs. Again, I would like to urge the committee to again define the grants, because you can say grants for construction or infrastructure, and there are also grants. Maybe somebody can come with a grant to support employee trainers, but I didn't say that it was not captured here as part of the grants that be welcome. Maybe you can improve it by adding grants to support even trainings and any other activity that maybe a donor can see that it is fit to do. Again, we need to have data on all the VTCs and the needs assessment for each VTC, so that when we get grants or support from anywhere, already we'll be having information. Mr. Speaker, sir, I saw the committee indicated that the VTCs are only 13, but the intention is to have 30 per ward. So I don't think it should be limited to only 13. Currently, we have one coming in Londiani and Tendano, and if it's only you say 13 that are existing, then you will have locked out the future VTCs that are supposed to be constructed. Otherwise, this policy is good. Maybe with time we improve on it and also beef it up to become better, so that it can be inclusive and also have even futuristic programs. For example, I attended an energy meeting which was here at ACK sometimes back, and the engineer who was doing nuclear had suggested that even nuclear programs can be included in the VTCs. So in future we can even add more programs that are coming with change in technology and any other things. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, sir, I do support the implementation of this policy in totality. Thank you very much.
Well, I thank you, the Honorable Evans and Kurin. The Honorable Dominic Mutai, the member of the County Assembly for Kabianga. And I have seen the hand of the Honorable Anita, Honorable Mati. And then you let us allow the mover of the motion to reply after that so that I can see our time has really gone. So, the Honorable Dominic, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity to give my view and support the policy statement from the Committee on Education. But before that, Mr. Speaker, I want to welcome the students and teachers from Kenegut Girls High School. Mr. Speaker, I heard from one of the members that Mheshimiwa Paul Chirchir was a student at Kenegut Girls High School, and asked myself, these are a girls' school, so I don't know. But Mheshimiwa Tarimbo, Mheshimiwa Chirchir should, if he was here, he could tell us properly if he was once a student in that school. Nevertheless, the Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the Committee on Education for coming up with this policy. This is a good policy, this is a good start. And also to thank the KCB Foundation for becoming part of this journey in this county of Kericho, and also the county government of Kericho led by Dr. Eric Mutai for talking and getting the grants from KCB Foundation. I had some few recommendations. Before I make the recommendation, this has been a game changer within our villages. If you see the 4,262 trainers across the 13 vocational, it has become a game changer in most of the VCT, which was long ago called Village Polytechnic. It was like it was run down completely. The VCT, the vocational training centers, was like a cost before these grants. They didn't have students. There was no financial or grants or any money coming from the national government or the county government. But when the grant, like the one in my ward, Chebilu Polytechnic, we have around 400 students, up from, I don't know, is it 100 or 50? And it is a game changer within the locality of the Chebilu Center. Because I was doing some calculation, if a student, around 400 students within the center of Chebilu Vocational Training Center, use 100 shillings per day. There is a lot of money circulating in that village, but circulating in that village and that town. Nevertheless, I want to work with the sentiment made by Vincent, Honorable Vincent Korir, that I hope this is not the last policy you are doing, the Committee on Education. Can we try to fine-tune? Can you give us a report also as a committee? You can move around to this vocational training, know their need basis, know their challenges. And another issue here is the summary of the 4 dates. If you see the 4 dates, you have infrastructure and civil works at 30%. Purchase of education and needs and related equipment, which is applies to this institution. 50% is to enable this guy get the knowledge. The third one is maintenance and plant machinery and equipment at 15%. And then administration costs, maybe bank charges, local transport, utilities, and water and electricity. In my recommendation, I thought we should add the operation cost. Because Mheshimiwa Kubrotich Tokonyo was talking about lunch. Because if you divide a grant, at the end of the day, those students at the vocational training, they need to have lunch. So maybe you can add another operation cost, maybe to run issues of the institution as one of the 4 dates. Another big issue, Mr. Speaker, which is the biggest element in this issue, is the commitment from the students and the parents. Because if you go to an institution, they skip lesson. Some were selected, but they never turn up to those institutions. So you need also to fine-tune. I don't know, can we fine-tune the commitment level from our parents and the students themselves? Because
Some institution, Mheshimiwa Ravanyi was saying they're charging 2,000. Sometimes there is a commitment fee. If you tell them come to school because it's free, if they will not commit themselves, they will not be in those schools. So it's a small token so that you can commit yourself that I'll be coming to school. Otherwise, we can get grants, but maybe we will not get the students to use these grants. Another issue is the way Mheshimiwa Vincent said, can we divide the grants? Because some donors can come with machinery. Some might say we'll build a lab or something like that. I have another issue with the signatories. Yes, the VCT manager is a signatory, the chairman of the board, and the chief officer in charge of the VET, who shall be a mandatory signatory. And the accountant, or something like that, it is written the account in all the VCT should comply to the Fair Act. My issue here, if you find a CEO who is always busy, and he must sign a check for the operation of this institution, I think we have 13 currently, and in our budget, Mr. Speaker, we are recommending Tendeno Soget is getting one, Londiani was getting one, and then Mheshimiwa Kimaru's ward, and then Mheshimiwa Shele ward also was getting one. So in the near future, we'll have around 20. So my suggestion was that, yes, you say it's a mandatory. If you find a CEO who is never in office, who is always busy somewhere, I don't know where he is, the operation of these schools will not run. So maybe you can get these directors in the department or any other. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, sir, I support.
All right, thank you, the Honorable Dominic Mutai. The Honorable Anita. And then we will close with the Honorable Martin. Yes, the Honorable Anita, the only member of the County Assembly who is a woman and has been elected, a member of the County Assembly of Chemasot. Proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for this opportunity to be able to share or support this policy. Before that, Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me to also welcome Kenya Good Girls to this honorable house. I think you've heard a lot about what happens here, and I just want to encourage you as girls that being here today as the only woman who was elected, I'd like to encourage you that if you have a dream to be a politician someday, this is the time to make that decision, to work hard in your school, and eventually you'll be able to make to this house. Thank you. I think one or two issues, Mr. Speaker, sir. First, I would like to appreciate the Committee on Education for working on this policy on vocational training centers grants, especially looking at what transpired a few months ago when we got KCB Foundation coming in to support our vocational training centers, and looking at the numbers and the students who have been able to join various centers and get to learn through or go through different skills. As Honorable Dominic mentioned that before then, our vocational centers were really struggling. I remember one of the centers that I have in my ward, Chemasot, had about 80 students, and it was a real struggle to even get more coming in because of the challenges of school fees and all that. But looking at this program that was initiated by the county government, led by Dr. Mutai, this has really helped so many of the students that without a policy that can guide how this can be managed, Mr. Speaker, sir, it's something that maybe it was going to be an issue going forward. But looking at what has been presented today by the committee and the guidelines therein on how the grants will be managed, this even gives us room as leaders to go out of our way also and see who else can we engage out there. As Honorable Dominic mentioned, something that I've been pursuing of a foundation that wanted to donate some machines to our polytechnic, and they kept asking me how this can be done, how this can come through, but I didn't have a clear guide. But looking at what is provided today, I think this answers some of the questions, and this gives us room as a county and as leadership to actually keep pushing for more support and a proper management of the grant going forward, even as we allocate as an assembly. This reminds me, Mr. Speaker, when we were doing our budget the other week, Honorable Rogon brought a very good proposal that as we work on everything else, let us give some money to these institutions to even employ trainees or trainers, those who are going to train, because with all the numbers that we are talking about today, I think there's a part that was saying we have about 4,262 trainees that were enrolled. But Mr. Speaker, sir, if you visit those institutions, most of these trainees are not given full attention or not getting proper trainings because of lack of enough trainers. So today, Mr. Speaker, sir, this, I think we're working in the right direction as we speak about Gen Zs today, and the big question out there that what are we benefiting from the government? I think this puts us as Kericho on a better, in a better position to actually be able to showcase some of the things that we're working towards, supporting them and seeing them get the skills they need, and also make them be able to compete with outside world. We're talking today about expert labor, seeing what the Office of Social and Labor are doing with doing all the contracts with many countries, and they're asking for skilled laborers. And I think, Mr. Speaker, sir, this puts our youth in Kericho in a better position to be able to even secure opportunities out there and live and be able to meet some of the needs that they have. So thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I support this in totality. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, the Honorable Anita Bibei. The Honorable, finally, the Honorable Martin Cheriot from Kapkugari to what? Because of time, I'll request that you summarize, and then I give to the mover of motion to reply.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity also to support the motion that is before us. But first, let me join you and the honorable members in welcoming the teachers and students from Kindergut Girls Secondary School. That you welcome. This is the right place for you to get some learning. And for you girls, the honorable member who has just left contributing is an elected member from Jemosod, and she has inspired you that if you wish to be a leader some time to come, work hard, and there is nothing that is impossible. Honorable Speaker, I also rise to support the motion, and I want to commend the Committee on Education for these guideline policies on VTCs. I am particularly drawn to the enrollment in our VTCs around with the figure of over 4,000 up from 1,700 previously. And I must say that our young men and girls are embracing the trainings that we are offering at our VTCs. So mine is to urge and also add and request the honorable members that we let's still do some mobilizing even in our wards where we come from, for these people to come out and join these VTCs. There are a lot of opportunities out there, Mr. Speaker, requiring skilled labor, and this is basically where these people will acquire these skills. And I know there are many even around this town and other areas. There are many jobs, hands-on jobs that requires these skills. Mr. Speaker, I want also to put something across that this current policy will put confidence on various organizations that or individuals that they wish to do some donate some grants to this VTC so that these young men and women can be able to acquire these skills. So I think this has come at the right time, and we support it. I support it. We support it as an assembly. Okay. I'm also drawn, lastly, Mr. Speaker, that moving forward, because as per the recommendations, there is one that is saying, as one of the recommendations, the VTC centers should have a title deed or an allotment letter for them to qualify for this kind. So moving forward, actually we should be able to, the county government and the committee should actually make some follow-up so that where we are putting up these centers should actually have those titles or allotments so that they benefit from these grants. Otherwise, I stand to support the policy on grants guidelines. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
All right, thank you so much, Honorable Martin Cheriot. And now I call upon the mover of the motion, the Honorable Philip Mutai, to reply.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to reply to the motion before us. Mr. Speaker, sir, as we were deliberating on the report, on the policy report, some issues came up among the honorable members. One on the issue of scholarship program, the aspect of land, title deed, and allotment letters, and also the number of accredited number of trainers. So I just want to say, Mr. Speaker, sir, that as a committee, we will go and sit down, do a small report on the issues that has been raised by the honorable members. But Mr. Speaker, I just want to request them, they use the formal way of raising a statement with the same, so that it can give us a leeway as a committee to deliberate on it. Mr. Speaker, sir, I just want to urge this honorable house that the problem that has been trending across our wards, that is the issue of Gen Z, Generation Z. I just want to tell them we rally behind these youths and encourage them to go to vocational training colleges so that we can alleviate the problem that is before us. So otherwise, Mr. Speaker, sir, I just sincerely want to thank this House for approving this report and probably allowing it to move to the next level. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for the opportunity.
All right, thank you, the Honorable Philip Mutai. Honorable members, now that you have contributed and ventilated upon the report, I now rise to put the question, which is that this House approves the report of Education and Child Welfare Committee on Kericho County Vocational Training Centers grant guidelines. Will as many as are of similar opinion say aye? Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? And the ayes have it. So, honorable members, we have come to a conclusion, but before then, based on the issues that have been raised, a number of observations made by the honorable members, notably even the ones that have been substantiated by the Honorable Kiprotich Chogon. The issues also that have been said, I want to direct as follows. That number one, committee on implementation. To pick up on the matters that have been raised on the implementation of the vocational training program, more so focus on the grants that is funded by the county government of Kericho and the Kenya Commercial Bank, which is a noble program. As we appreciate the good work that the executive has done on this matter, we also look at the issues of implementation to ensure that indeed the issues that have been raised by the honorable members are addressed so that the residents of the county can reap from this program. Secondly is the Committee on Education to pick up on the said matters and consult with the clerk office together with the Department of Education to ensure that they come up with a bill which will be an act that this House should approve, so that perhaps it makes it easier in future on how to implement the program across the county. So, honorable members, be guided, and clerk, you will advise accordingly. As I finalize, this should have come in form of communication, but honorable members, remember that Kikoska games are almost there, and the honorable chairman, youth, who happens not to be a Gen Z, is here. You are hereby directed to provide to the office of the clerk all the necessary requirements and the requests so that process of planning can be completed. That is the message from the office of the clerk that I'm passing to you, the honorable chairman, with your team. So you sit down and agree on the way forward. Otherwise, honorable members, there are no being other order of business. This assembly stands adjourned until 2:30 p.m.